Hey everyone, welcome back to Stay Tuned Reviews, a place where you can kick back, relax, and hear my honest thoughts on TV shows, movies, and other things. I'll be dropping a ton of new content over the next few weeks, so feel free to subscribe to my channel so you'll get the notifications for my reviews. In 2018, a contentious movie called Acrimony came to theaters. The movie was directed by Tyler Perry, and it tells the story of Melinda, a scorned woman who gets revenge on her ex-husband Robert after all the drama he put her through. When Acrimony first came out, professional critics gave the movie overwhelmingly negative reviews for the story writing as well as the acting performances. However, a number of Tyler Perry fans hailed the movie as one of the best that he has ever directed. Over the past few years, whenever discussions about Acrimony come up on Facebook or in general conversations, I notice that the topics are usually about whether or not Melinda was justified in how she acted towards Robert. Well, I'm here to share my highly unpopular opinion about Melinda. And my opinion is this: that Melinda was completely out of order, and she could only blame herself for her own issues. Now let's get the obvious out of the way. From the very beginning of the movie, Melinda is presented as someone who has very little respect for authority, and she doesn't like taking responsibility for her own actions. There are several times in the movie where Melinda is seen assaulting or trying to kill Robert, with Robert never retaliating against her. As you know, by the end of the movie, Melinda and her abusive ways finally catch up with Robert. She sneaks on Robert's yacht with a gun, terrorizes everybody on board, and she ultimately cancels Robert's Christmas. But please, take this journey with me as we take a deeper look into Melinda. A look that will help others believe that she has always been out of order. In Acrimony, Melinda and Robert had a chance meeting that turned into a decent friendship. On the day that Melinda's mother passed away, we as the audience learned that Melinda's mother left her a six-figure inheritance as well as the house. Now, why Melinda didn't bother to share any of that inheritance with her sisters remains a mystery. But if I were her sibling, I would have some questions. After the burial of Melinda's mother, Robert, being the concerned friend that he is, comes to visit Melinda and offer his condolences. He sticks around long enough to meet Melinda's family and know that they don't like him very much, so he decides to leave shortly after. Melinda spots Robert leaving, and against his wishes, she gives him a ride back to his place. When they got back to Robert's place, one thing led to another. Melinda seduced Robert, and it caused him to give her that good old-fashioned pickle tickle. Now, I understand that some people grieve in their own ways after a loss of life, but for one to simply lose their virginity to someone they barely know only a few hours after their mother's funeral is insane. Over the course of their young adulthood, Melinda allows Robert to move in with her, rent-free. Let me repeat that, rent-free. And she willingly uses her mother's inheritance money to pay for her dates with Robert, as well as buy him a car, pay for 2 semesters of college, and pay the household bills. Robert during this time really never paid for anything, and to his credit, Melinda really never asked or expected him to do so. In the mind of Melinda, she was showing Robert love by financially supporting him as he worked to achieve his dream. She didn't really require anything from him in return except a promise to help her out financially if things didn't work out. Let's keep this in mind. Nobody forced Melinda to stick around and remain with Robert during his time. Melinda definitely knew what type of guy Robert was from early on in the movie, and that realization left Melinda with 3 choices. 1, she could have left Robert early on and kept most of her inheritance, her mother's house, as well as her sanity. 2, she could have been more vocal and told Robert what exactly she needed, so that their relationship issues wouldn't snowball into something bigger down the line. Or 3, she could have continued with the exact same approach with Robert, while expecting different results, which in some cases is the definition of insanity. Melinda chose option 3, and it ultimately led to the downfall of their relationship. I know I've been talking about Melinda for a while, but allow me to talk about Robert for a second. When it comes to personality types, I strongly believe that Robert was 100% an Omega. Overall, he meant well when it came to his feelings towards Melinda, but he was entirely too focused on investing time with his own interests to tend to Melinda's needs without being directly told to do so. Yes, Robert cheated, but that was a one-time thing, and it was when Robert was very young. In the grand scheme of things, Robert had great potential in him, and it is my opinion that he needed a stronger woman to help him become the best man that he could be. And that is where Diana comes into the picture. Whereas Melinda was seen as an enabler to Robert's worst impulses, Diana knew her own worth and wouldn't give Robert the time of day as long as he was on some foolishness. And whereas Melinda and her family were happy to tear Robert down at his lowest, Diana saw the potential in Robert at the moment where he hit rock bottom and gave him the help and support he needed to make his dream come true. This leads me to my final point as to why Melinda was out of order. Let's not forget that Melinda started seeing other men before the divorce was final to Robert, which makes her a conscious cheater. For all the grief that Melinda gave Robert about cheating on her, she was pretty quick to get that pickle tickle from another man not named Robert. At the end of the day, Robert couldn't change the hurt and heartache that he put Melinda through, but with the help of Diana, Robert became the man that he needed to be and saw fit to make amends with Melinda. Melinda had 10 million reasons to be happy and feel whole again. Yet she continued to blame Robert and Diana for things instead of taking ownership for her own failures as a woman and wife. And when it was all said and done, Robert ended up keeping his promises to buy his woman a diamond ring, high-rise apartment, yacht, and a trip to Paris. But he gave all those things to the woman that was destined to be his queen, Diana. A woman that took a broken man and made him whole again. It is also my opinion that if Melinda were a real person, she should have apologized to Robert for not being half the woman that Diana was to him. I sincerely hope that Acrimony served as a lesson to everyone out there when it comes to dating, relationships, and marriage. And as the saying goes, a closed mouth don't get fed. Thanks again for watching this review. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like or comment below, and I promise to keep the content coming. Until next time, stay safe and stay tuned.